Girl in the mirror. When I was a child, I was often alone. The parents lived in an old house in the village, and there were no other children nearby. I had a younger brother, but at that time he was still a baby, so I couldn't play with him. I was almost always alone. There were many small rooms in that old house. In the hallway there was a sliding wardrobe in which my father kept his tools. I loved getting into it and playing with its instruments. At the time, I thought it was interesting. One day, in the back of the closet I discovered an old mirror. It was oval in shape with a bronze frame with many designs. Even though the mirror was very old and covered with dust, the surface of the glass itself remained clean, and I could see myself clearly. One day, while playing in the closet, I accidentally looked at myself in the mirror and saw something that shocked me. In the reflection I saw a strange girl standing behind me. Frightened, I quickly turned around, but there was no one behind me. Looking in the mirror again, I was dumbfounded. The girl was still there. Probably because I was a child, I wasn't scared. I just thought it was strange that she only appears in the mirror. This girl had long, dark hair and pale, white skin. She looked at me from the mirror and laughed. "Hello," she said with a smile. We started talking. The girl said her name was Nana. From then on we started talking constantly. My parents were probably wondering why I sat in the closet so often, talking to myself, but they didn't put the mirror away. It appears that Nana-chan was invisible to adults. One day, when I was talking to Nana-chan, I said, "I'm lonely, I wish I had friends to play with." "Come here and play with me," Nana-chan answered. "Can I go to your place?" I asked. "How can I do it?" Nana's face took on an expression of concern, then she lowered her voice and said, "I don't know. I'll ask." I wondered who she was going to ask, but I didn't hear anything else. Somehow, I felt that whoever it was, they didn't want me to hear them. The next day, when I was talking with Nana, she joyfully said, "I now know how you can get here. Come on, go. Let's play." I was happy, but I remembered that my parents always told me to warn them that I was going somewhere. "Okay, but I have to ask my mom," I replied. Nana's face became a little worried again and she said, "Don't tell anyone about this. We might not be able to meet if you tell someone." I was silent because I didn't want to disobey my parents. Then Nana-chan said, "Then come and play with me tomorrow, okay? Do you promise?" "Yes," I answered, reluctantly. "I promise." Nana reached out and touched the surface of the mirror with her little finger. "Swear," she said with a smile. I extended my hand and placed the tip of my little finger in front of hers. "I swear," I said. It seemed to me that through the glass I could feel a slight warmth. That night I couldn't sleep for a long time. I didn't tell my parents about Nana-chan, but as I lay there in the dark, a lot of questions were running through my head. How will I enter the mirror? What kind of place will be there? Why doesn't Nana come here herself? If I go there, how can I return? As I thought about all this, I became more and more worried. I even began to be a little afraid of Nana-chan. The next day, I didn't go to see Nana. I avoided her the entire next day, then another day and another. I haven't gone near the closet all week. In fact, I never went into the closet again. The weeks and months passed quickly. I've gotten older. As the months passed, the years passed and I grew up. I left home and went to college in the city. After finishing it, I started working in the city. I haven't been home for a very long time. Eventually, I met a girl and we got married. By that time I had completely forgotten about Nana. Soon after we got married, my wife realized that she was pregnant. She went to visit her parents for a while. I was left in the house alone. Sometimes I visited my parents for dinner, who lived in the same house outside the city. One day, on one of these evenings, I decided to spend the night with them and slept in my old bedroom. I woke up in the middle of the night and went to the toilet. While I was washing my hands, I happened to look in the mirror. The sliding door of the closet in the middle of the corridor was open. This was the same closet in which I played as a child. It seemed to me that the door was closed when I went to the toilet. I turned around and was truly shocked to see that the closet door was still closed. However, when I looked in the mirror again, the door was open. Chill ran down my spine and my hands began to tremble. It seemed to me that the sliding door opened a little more in the darkness. At that moment, I remembered Nana-chan. I was overcome with fear, but I could not take my eyes off the mirror. The door continued to move, in the reflection of the mirror. A white mist appeared in the darkness of the back of the closet. Then he transformed into a familiar face. Nana-chan's smiling face. I think I lost consciousness. The next thing I remember, I woke up on the floor. It was morning and the parents were still sleeping. It must have been a dream, I told myself. Just a terrible dream. I didn't feel comfortable continuing to stay at my parents' house, so after breakfast, I returned to my home. My house has underground parking, so I parked my car in the space reserved for my car. I was about to get out of the car and looked in the rearview mirror. I was almost speechless. There, in the mirror, was Nana's face. I looked back, but she wasn't in the back seat. I looked in the rearview mirror again. Nana was still there, looking at me, over my shoulder, and our eyes met. She looked exactly the same as before. Long, dark hair and pale, white skin. Nothing has changed in all this time. I was trembling and could not take my eyes off her. In the end, Nana laughed. "Hello," she said with a smile. I felt like I was going to throw up. "Why didn't you come then?" she asked. "All this time, I was waiting for you." I was silent. I didn't know what to say. I couldn't find the words. "Hey," she said. "Come here and let's play now." In the reflection, her hand slowly reached towards me. "Let's play here forever," she said. "No," I shouted. I didn't think I'd scream so loud. "Nana-chan, I'm sorry, I can't go there. I can't." Nana fell silent and her hand stopped in the air. Trembling with fear, I grabbed the doorknob with all my strength and spoke in a quiet voice, like the little boy I once was. "I have a wife now, we're going to have a baby soon, so I can't." I finished speaking, unable to find any more words. I was shaking all over and couldn't control myself, but eventually I looked in the mirror again. Nana-chan was still there. "I see," she said, "you have become an adult, and you don't want to play with me anymore." Her voice sounded so sad and lonely. "I can't," I said. Nana-chan laughed and smiled, such an innocent smile that at that moment it seemed to me that she would really forgive me for breaking my promise. "Nana-chan," I started, but she interrupted me. "If you don't play with me, I'll have to find someone else," she said. "Such as you." And then, unexpectedly, she left. Before I could understand the meaning of the last words she said, she left. Once and for all. Nana never came to see me again. That evening my wife called me and told me the sad news: she had a miscarriage. Our child died. Only then did I finally understand what Nana-chan meant when she said someone like you.